So we're leaving in about 6 weeks on a 4.5 month trip, and there's a few maintenance issues I want to tidy up.
Yeah, what did you just do? Why did you do that anyways? People won't want to watch this. They'll think you're a silly goose.
That's not very
Yeah.
nice. So this is the Thirsty Nomad. Without sounding like it's a real gimmick, it is really good. I know a lot of yous out there will go, oh shit, someone might steal it, but I had a few comments about the same coloured shirt over and over again, and also the fact I can't grow a beard. I know, I'm 37, I'll get there one day. So we've got the bearings out, but who does the washing of the bearings?
You will have to do it, Adam. Yeah, is that alright?
Awesome. And hopefully it's cheaper. I think you charge extra when people watch that.
Yeah, we usually do, mate.
Craft beer or real beer? Thank God. We're good. We can go now. What's the first thing you put in the caravan? On the spot.
Wine.
Yes. Much to my dismay.
Do you want to play shops with us?
Not right now, we're videoing.
No, we're doing a video.
Yeah.
Hi. Hello. Are you actually?
Oh, yeah, no, that's awesome.
Say your thing.
No, you've got to.
No, I'm not saying it.
Come on.
Get out there and enjoy it.
Jesus. I wasn't ready.
It's everyone's dream to be able to travel, and we're so excited. We're pumped. We're about to head off in 7 days' time for a 4-month trip.
So before we get going, we have put together a checklist that we're about to speak about. If you want to duck over to our website and print it out, and we'll work through it together. We're not going to go through every point, but we'll really pick on some of the key areas we found that were the most important when planning this trip. Right, so the first one on the list is destination, and it does have a big bearing on everything that follows after it. What you take, how you set up for it, your budget, how long you need off work. So really, you really need to decide on where you want to go. We spent a long time deciding, just that. And then you really start to think about the distance you need to travel. So you may want to see a particular area, but you got to think about the time frame that you just spend in the car. Is it worth driving that far to just spend a week? Like, don't drive 2-3 weeks just for a week at that destination. You really need to make it worthwhile, especially with the way the price of fuel is. It's only getting worse at the moment. So destination is a really good one to nail, and then time frame comes with that. So how much time do you need to make that destination worthwhile? Everyone said we really need to book everything because it's so busy. Look, we're of that frame of mind that we would rather miss out on things and be nailed down to a time frame. 4.5 months we're going for, which is a reasonable amount of time. I don't want to have to be in a destination 3 months from now. It is too hard for us we can't travel that way.
Yeah.
So
and plus, I think you get somewhere and you go, oh, this place is so awesome.
Yeah.
I wish we had like 2 more days, but you've got another booking to get to.
That's right.
And it's, it's not cheap these days to cancel. Sometimes there's you can't cancel, you're going to lose your money. Everything's getting more and more expensive, and that cuts into your budget if you're having to, cancel those bookings. So I think just, wing it.
Righto, so that pretty well covers off the first 3. Obviously, look, we're not going to dive right into the budget. It is such a personal thing. Everyone is in different financial situations, has different mortgages, and makes different amounts of money, and has different, you might have to buy a caravan or a car planning for this trip. That is a rabbit hole for a whole nother chat, and we won't really go into that. But budget versus how much time you can have off work versus how far you want to travel, it is a really, really big consideration.
Probably budget, but also think about having, you don't want to be down to your last cent at the end of the trip. So
right. Yeah.
Budget, but also have a backup for when
Yep.
you come home, that you're not going to be coming home with nothing. That's one of our biggest things, is the trips that we've always been on. We've always come back with money in the bank. We haven't, used our life savings on a trip. because you just don't know what you're coming back to, and obviously you're straight back into school or you're straight back into working life.
Christmas.
We're coming back just before Christmas, so that's going to hurt.
Yep.
But we've planned for that, so yeah.
Yep. So going on with that is applying for leave from work. I'm self-employed, Megan's employed, so it is a consideration. Probably the only real tip here is give the people that you work for, whether you're self-employed or not, like you have continuous work sometimes as a self-employed, just give them heaps of notice. That if you're planning this for like 2 years away, talk about it with your employer. Like, it's not like you're putting in for leave then, but at least if they know where you're going and you're a good employee, I've never heard of anyone having a real drama with having 3 to 4 months off and not being able to walk back into their job. If you've got problems at your workplace already, I mean, that's a whole different kettle of fish. But if you know you do your job well and you give them plenty of notice, there shouldn't really be an issue.
Don't be afraid to ask. Like,
everyone lives
God,
their life. Like,
I've done it twice now. I've asked 2 separate employers to have the time off, and I'm not just talking like 4 weeks. I'm talking 4 months. So both times I absolutely shat myself and put it off for weeks and weeks, because I just it's never a nice thing to raise with your boss, but you just got to ask and be honest and just say, look, this is what I plan to do, and if you're really wanting to do that trip, and make it clear that obviously if your boss needs to replace you in that time, that if you're okay with that, then that's how it is.
You do have to take that risk.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah.
And I think, I don't know.
And like if you wait until the point where you don't have to ask for time off, which is when you're retired, you could be dead.
Yeah. Go out there and do it.
Yeah.
And just ask. You never know.
We will touch on that. Apply for long service leave. A lot of people forget about long service. You could be eligible for long service even if you work for yourself. Don't forget the construction industry is it's a government slush fund, basically. You may have long service sitting there you didn't even know you were eligible for. If you do have an employer and you've been there for over 10 years, it's a great little source of income that many people may forget. We'll blast past that. I think a really big one for us, was how we went about taking the kids out of school. Do you do distance ed? Do you not do distance ed? Can you get into distance ed? Are you in a public school or a Catholic school? This is one thing you need to think about months and months before you leave on your trip. We got caught out a little bit.
Yeah, I think I just assumed that we would be able to just take the time off and the school would provide us work. No, I was very naive on that front.
And just to clarify, we are not in public school?
No, we're through a private school, so it was a little bit, not harder, but there was some hoops to jump through. But in the end, basically the ruling at this time was that you could have a term off, and then after that you would have to apply for distance education, which we looked into to do the whole lot through DE. But the wait times at the moment were near 3 months, so that wasn't...
Yeah, they basically said to us we'd probably be approved by the time we got home from the trip. So it really does come down to the school. It is up to their discretion whether they sign off on it or not, which was a surprise to us. So as a rule of thumb, the public system is 100 days off school, so that's 100 school days. That doesn't take into account holidays or weekends. The Catholic system is 50 days. But then there's so many grey areas amongst that as well. We were really surprised that it was going to be... It ended up not being too bad, but we were a little bit naive to it.
I think just plan early and do your research and approach the school and get their advice straight up, which I was pretty happy with the way things turned out for us. So
it worked out in the end.
We don't have to do distance education. We're still enrolled through the school. We know what to expect with Google Classroom and things like that. So we've also got the kids a journal each. We've got some educational books that I picked up from Officeworks and Big W, which they absolutely love doing those. We're pretty lucky that our kids just love playing schools. They love, they kind of love school. So I hope it's not going to be too much problems.
That won't last. But, they're not teenagers yet.
At the end of the day, it's 4 months. We're not worried about, set times every single day of, getting them to sit down and do, 2 to 3 hours of school. We're not on the road full time. So this is a holiday for us, so we'll do what we can, and they can catch up if they fall behind.
They won't. They'll be fine.
They'll be fine.
All right. Righto. So when you're just travelling for 1 to 6 months, we're going to call that that sort of time frame. This is relatable. Most people will still have a house at home to think about, and most people will probably still have pets at home. We were lucky enough. We've got friends that are good enough to take our crazy golden retriever.
Thank you, Tim and Kay.
Yeah, we probably won't answer their phone calls while we're away, but so it is a real consideration. It was one of the biggest concerns we had, honestly, was what are we going to do with the dog? So some people it'll be just easy for. We were luckily enough, one of our friends is going to have him. He's a good dog, but just to put that burden on someone, we're very grateful for that. Like, we really are. So not only that, you can't just lock your house up for 4 months and just leave. Like, you do need to do some maintenance with getting your lawns mowed, and maybe just someone to go through your house every now and then, make sure there's not a pipe burst. We actually have had that
happen.
Yes. We had, hot tip, solar. We had a solar hot water system, and we actually turned the power off to the house for that 3 month, the previous 3 month trip we did. So that was actually our fault. So what happened was the water in the solar hot water system panels that were on the roof froze because there was no power for the little pump to pump warm water up there, which I didn't realise that's what it did. So the water froze in the panels. When water freezes, it expands, it cracked the panels, and we ended up with like a $350 water bill for that quarter because the water just kept running and out of the panels into the gutter and then down the drain. So that is it's a perfect example of what we're talking about. You can't just lock your house up and leave for 4 months. I mean, you can. I just wouldn't. We've learnt from experiences before. There are some of those maintenance things that you need to keep on top of.
Yeah, and I think we've eaten down a lot in our fridge now, a lot in our pantry. We're going to make sure all the food is out. This time I think we're going to actually turn our fridges off, which is, I think, something we didn't do last time, did we?
No, we did, yes.
Turn
the power off. Yeah,
so fridges will all be turned. We've got 2 fridges here. Fridges will all be off, and as much food out of the pantry as possible.
Yep.
And that's pretty much it for inside.
The house, yeah.
Beds will be washed,
Why?
I don't know.
She's lost. Righto, let's move on. So something relevant at the moment, and hopefully not relevant for much longer, is vaccinations. The COVID vaccination was something we really had to think about. We are not for or against vaccinations. We are vaccinated. We don't know whether we did that because we wanted to or because we wanted to travel. Still unsure. But we had to get the 3rd one, and we went and did that purely to travel. So it is something to consider. You just got to make sure that the state you're going to travel into, how many vaccinations you do need. So going along with, it's not a vaccination, but it's a permit. So we're going into Arnhem Land. So there are permits. So that's just a good example of there's some permits you need to go into certain places, and make sure you apply for them with enough time to be approved or disapproved. So if you're disapproved for somewhere, you can change your plans and not miss out on that holiday. Like, there's a lot of places in Australia to see. If you miss out on going somewhere that you were desperate to go to, I'm sure you can figure out another great spot. In saying that, we have not got approval for Arnhem Land yet, but we will.
It doesn't happen overnight. So
do what we say, not what we do.
Yeah.
Righto. Next. So vehicle maintenance. If you've been following along the trip prep series, we've been doing a bit on the Land Cruiser and the caravan, and just generally getting ready, trying to be prepared for anything. And if anything breaks now, I at least know I've done my best. You can't prevent everything from happening, especially if you have an older vehicle. Start that process early on. Don't leave yourself, for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and you've got a $5,000 to $10,000 bill for maintenance on your vehicle and your caravan, and you're struggling to get those parts right when you leave. So maintenance is a massive thing, and it's more important the more remote you're traveling. So there's some of the bigger hurdles when planning a trip, but moving along to packing and some of the essential items. What's the first thing you put in the caravan on the spot?
Wine.
Yes. Much to my dismay. And after
Of course, wine.
And after that?
beer.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough, right? Anyway, so none of these videos are sponsored, but if Great Northern wants to kick in, like, I'll sell up for Great Northern. Don't worry about that. And after wine and beer, what's one of the most important things you think we've made sure we had to pack? I haven't got really an answer for this. I'm asking. What do you think?
You put me on the spot, but we have just recently bought another cassette for the toilet. That comes to mind. So wine, beer,
that goes with that.
And pooping.
Yeah. Great.
Well,
as I was saying it, I did think of something that is realistic. We bought
that?
a really good first aid kit, which I did mention in one of the previous trip prep videos. But going along with that, we have kitted out our medicine cabinet with Kids Nurofen, Kids Panadol.
It's expensive too.
It is, yeah. And we
like
went
a good first aid kit's a couple of $100, and then by the time you buy, your Nurofens and your Panadols, and we actually had to buy a thermometer. We don't really use one, but I thought we'll just get one because you never know, Our kids are generally pretty healthy. They don't get sick very often, touch wood, but I know that we'll be in the middle of somewhere away from, middle of nowhere really, and we'll need something. We're on our own. So
here's a fun game after this video. Go to your medicine cabinet and see how much of it is in date.
Make sure you have an up-to-date medicine kit and also a really, really, really good first aid kit, which includes like your snake bites, snake bites, and stuff. So
So something when you're packing, and it goes along with trying to keep weight down, because weight's becoming an issue. They're really starting to weigh caravans and cars. We will be borderline with weight. We've done everything we can in our power to try and keep the weight down, but we really wanted to be able to do remote travel. So we've got heaps of water, heaps of battery, and it all adds to weight. One of the things you do need to decide is what kind of activities you're going to be doing on the trip. We're not taking kayaks, we're not taking paddleboards. We're pretty much just taking snorkeling gear.
And blow up noodles and stuff like that.
Blow up noodles. Blow up.
Oh, shut up, will ya?
Well, it's not a blow up noodle. Hey, kids.
In here.
Hello.
Do you want to play shops with us?
Not right now, we're videoing.
Hi. Hello. Are you actually?
Oh, yeah, no, that's awesome. So with packing, really, you need to decide what activities you're going to take. Push bikes are a big thing for us. They add a fair bit of weight. We don't use stand-up paddle boards at home or kayaks. I mean, we do, but not that often. So why lug them around for 4.5 months?
Plus, a lot of the time you can hire them where you're going. So
well, you can, but you just have to really make a decision. You can't take the whole house with you. Like, you get close to it, but water and being able to stay off the grid was more important to us than taking toys. So you got to cull something, and so that was it.
Yeah, like you take pool noodles and blow up toys that can be packed down and put away.
And light.
Like kids are pretty, like they don't need heaps of stuff, so
play with rocks and sticks once they're out west.
Yeah.
Alright. A few of the things we are taking that are important to the way we camp. We are taking chainsaw, an axe, and a quality fire pit. You can't always have a fire on the ground where you go, so all that stuff does add a fair bit of weight, but at the end of the day, we enjoy camping, and that's a big part of camping for us.
Having fires off the ground is more common than not now, so like a little flat pack fire pit is perfect, and you just can't go camping without a fire, so and you're gonna have to at some point get your own firewood, so a chainsaw is a must.
Right, so camp furniture is a really contentious topic in our life. I've struggled to get a camp chair out when we pull up. I'm a really lazy camper.
Not only that, how many chairs and tables have we ever bought that we no longer don't even use?
One of the first videos we did was camp chairs and how many would you own over your lifetime. I think everyone's in that boat.
Yeah.
So
we finally found the right ones.
Well, maybe. I think so, yes. I think so. But this is the first time we're going to take one of those little portable fold-out clotheslines. A caved.
You have to have one. You have to have a clothesline of some description when you're camping, so that when you do washing or wet towels, anything. We've never really had anywhere to hang our towels up.
And we've done all right.
Finally, we bought the little foldable sort of Hills Hoist look-alike.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. Everyone seems to have them. We were
Yeah.
trying to come up with some other flash idea, but I think for practicality and for weight, it's so light, and it comes in a little bag
Yeah.
for $50. I'm excited.
But and it just goes with everything. So your camp chairs, camp table, and then we've got camp benches for that. Your blow mold table. It is something to consider because it all adds weight. You got to really think whether you're going to use it. So yeah, like it is. We spent a lot of time just getting that right because yes, we're not living on the road, but 4.5 months is a long time. So that brings us to the end of our trip prep series of videos. Moving forward, we're really looking forward to sharing our adventure with you guys. But look, we're not going to be a travelling family on the road. We've already mentioned that we're not. We're going for 4.5 months. Full-time family on the road.
Full-time travelling family.
That's right. So there's so many families already on YouTube doing that, and they do it really well. We are fans of a lot of them. I'm sure you guys watch them as well. Look, we're really doing this as an information-based channel. We're going to talk about how we got there, how much it cost, what we broke, whether we'd do it again. I mean, a lot of those other families do touch on that, but we're really doing it from the perspective of having to go home and having to go home to work and to a house and to be able to maintain that and basically have the best of both worlds, we think. So it's just a different angle, and it's a different angle of videos. Look, we'll try to be more and more entertaining. We're only new to this, but there's a lot of travelling families on the road that are really good at the entertainment side. We're going to focus on the information side a lot more. Righto, so next time we see you guys, we'll be on the road. Can't wait. Don't forget, you only live once. Get out there and enjoy it.
You gonna say your thing?
No, you've got to.
No, I'm not saying it.
Come on. Come on.
No. God. Get out there and enjoy it.
Jesus. I wasn't ready.